Hey everybody, my name is Taylor Gibson, and this is the Gr8Wyte Experience. Hey everybody, welcome to the Gr8Wyte Experience, the show where I talk about anything and everything of interest. My name is Taylor Gibson. Thank you for listening. So, it's been a while. It's definitely been a while since I've sat down to record any kind of episode for the show. And honestly, I am really looking forward to finally getting a chance to record a brand new episode for you today. And it's an episode that I've wanted to do for a while now. For those who know me, you certainly would know how much of a hockey fan I am. Not surprising given I do a weekly hockey podcast. However, over the past decade, I actually have become a fan of the NFL. Now this is actually kind of surprising given that I didn't grow up watching it, didn't really follow it growing up. Now, in saying that, I did know some of the players in the NFL through the NFL video games, like Dante Culpepper, for example. It wasn't until I became a teenager that I really began to follow football a bit after watching the Seahawks, the team that I cheer for nowadays, go to their first Super Bowl in the 2005 season. And I did actually become a serious fan until I turned 20 when the NHL went into their lockout in 2012. And that's when I went from being a fairly casual fan to watching games every week. And a show I actually discovered during this time that actually helped me quite a bit in learning of some of the great players in the NFL and some of the great history that the league has. And the show in question is the NFL Network show, A Football Life. A Football Life, for those who aren't familiar, is a hourly episodic program produced by the NFL Network, which details the life and career of a certain player, coach, owner. The show currently is in its 10th season and has featured many important figures throughout the NFL's history. And today's episode is a wish list of episodes I would like to see be produced for A Football Life. Some of these, you might actually be surprised, aren't actually episodes yet. And honestly, you would be in the right to think this way. So with that being said, let's get into my wish list for players I feel should have A Football Life episodes done on them. Just a quick reminder, this is in no particular order. These are just some players I feel that need to have episodes produced on them. So with that being said, let's get to it. Kicking off my wish list is a player from the team affectionately known as America's team, the Dallas Cowboys. Through the show's history, numerous Dallas Cowboys have had episodes being produced on them, ranging from Roger Staubach to Tom Landry to more recent figures like Tony Romo. The 90s Cowboys have been the era of the team that has been featured the most, with episodes on Jerry Jones, Jimmy Johnson, and the Great Wall of Dallas. Most football fans will recall the triplets on the offensive side of the ball, with Emmitt Smith and Troy Aikman already having episodes being produced on them. However, the lone guy from that team who still hasn't had an episode being produced on him, and in kicking off this list, Dallas Cowboys wide receiver Michael Irvin. Irvin, during his prime, was easily one of the best wide receivers in the NFL, not named Jerry Rice or Chris Carter. And honestly, an episode on Irvin just seems like such a no-brainer. A 3-time Super Bowl champion, 5 straight Pro Bowls, the NFL's receiving yards leader in 1991, a member of the NFL's 1990s All-Decade team, and a part of the Cowboys' Ring of Honor. Outside of his accomplishments on the field, I think a Michael Irvin episode could be an interesting and inspiring watch with his off-the-field life. And honestly, I could see it kind of being presented the way that A Football Life did with Dexter Manley, a guy who had it all, then struggled with his own demons, only to emerge as a changed person. Given the number of former Cowboys featured on the show, honestly, I think it's really a matter of time before Michael Irvin gets an episode being produced, and for me, I think it would be long overdue. Coming in at number 2 is somebody who over the past 25 plus years has helped oversee the transformation of a franchise that went from being an absolute joke in the NFL to one of the greatest dynasties in any sport, New England Patriots owner Robert Kraft. Now, here's the thing. To fully understand what Robert Kraft has meant to the Patriots, you have to understand where the team was when he purchased them in 1994. Before Robert Kraft purchased the team, the New England Patriots had only made the playoffs 5 out of their first 20 seasons in the NFL, winning a total of 3 playoff games in the process, and only making 1 Super Bowl berth in 1985 when they got blown out by the Chicago Bears. The team had been through a number of terrible coaches, inept owners, and numerous draft picks that failed to move the needle. During Kraft's ownership, though, the Patriots have won 19 division titles, 8 AFC championships, 6 Super Bowls, while drafting a number of current and future Hall of Famers, such as Curtis Martin and Tom Brady, respectively. This could really make a great episode, as it would show how Kraft really had a passion for the team and wanted to keep it in New England. And it's very reminiscent of what Dan Snyder has done with the Washington football team. And I think, honestly, it would be very interesting to watch to see what he went through in order to buy the team, because there was a huge story about that, and then turning the franchise completely around into what they are today. Given the series has already featured Bill Belichick and Tom Brady, I feel it's only fitting that Robert Kraft should also have an episode done on him. For my number 3 selection, I gotta feature the Seattle Seahawks. Throughout the history of the Seahawks, the team has produced and featured some fantastic players, including Hall of Famers like Steve Largent and Cortez Kennedy, to more recent players like Russell Wilson. While the team has had some fantastic players, they haven't always been able to put it together on the field. However, the Pete Carroll era of the team has seen the franchise have their longest streak of sustained success. While a lot of that is due to the play of Russell Wilson and running back Marshawn Lynch, for me, one of the biggest reasons for this lies in 3 simple words: Legion of Boom. From 2012 to 2015, the Legion of Boom anchored the best defense in franchise history in 2013, with cornerback Richard Sherman, free safety Earl Thomas, and strong safety Cam Chancellor leading the way. During this period, the Seahawks went from a 7-9 team in 2011 to back-to-back Super Bowl appearances in 2013 and 2014, where they would win the Super Bowl in Super Bowl 48 versus the Denver Broncos, while all 3 men were named to Pro Bowls and All-Pro teams in the process. An episode on them would be really cool for us fans to see, as you have 3 guys who were not high draft choices and yet made it to the NFL with a huge chip on their shoulder. Well, it's debated where the 2013 Seahawks rank in order of some of the greatest defenses of all time. For Seahawks fans, they will always be number 1 in the hearts of every 12. For my final entry on my A Football Life episode wish list, I am going to go with somebody who, honestly, I can't believe there still hasn't been an episode produced, given the number of episodes done on many players and figures he played with and for. For many years, football fans have debated on who the GOAT is when it comes to football. And over the past couple of years, Tom Brady has been the overwhelming favorite in the debate. But for myself, there's only one guy who I seriously consider to be the one true GOAT, the one and only Joe Montana. So here's the thing. I get and understand why people say that Tom Brady is the GOAT with everything that he's accomplished during his career. But personally, I have to put Joe ahead of him simply because he was Tom Brady before Tom Brady. Montana wasn't some strong-arm gunslinger when he played at Notre Dame. He wasn't a number 1 pick when he got drafted in the NFL. He just went on the field every single week and came through for his team every single time during an era where quarterbacks were not as protected as they are today. And honestly, when you look back at them, the fact that a lot of those hits were legal against Joe Montana and some of the quarterbacks that played, it's insane. It's insane to think about in 2021. Regarding an episode produced on him, I actually kind of debated whether to include him on this list. Now, many things the episode would cover has already been talked about to death on numbers of episodes done, whether it be from Bill Walsh to Eddie DeBarlo, some of the figures of the San Francisco 49ers. However, honestly, I think for me, I would love to hear his honest thoughts and his side of the story on a number of subjects that they've covered, most notably the quarterback controversy with Steve Young and the fact that Bill Walsh just single-handedly put the two together and put them against each other. Despite an episode not being produced yet, it truly would be criminal if A Football Life came to an end tomorrow and there was not an episode done on one of the greatest football players to ever lace them up, and the man that I feel is the one and true greatest of all time. Well, guys, that wraps up this episode of the Gr8Wyte Experience. If there's anybody you think A Football Life should do an episode on, or you just want to give me some feedback on today's episode, leave me a comment below in the comment section, or you can shoot me a tweet at Gr8WyteGipster, that's Gr8WYTE Gipster, or you can shoot us a tweet through the show at Gr8Wyte Pod. I am your host, Taylor Gibson, and I'll see you next time.